Edward, you've been around the internet for a few years and have a website, selftransformation.org, and you've been on Pal Talk for about 8 years. And a lot of us have learned about you in that manner. But for those who have never heard of you or are familiar with what you have to say, who do you say you are?
I'm the possibility for the future of mankind.
That's a pretty broad statement. What
No,
makes
thank
you...
you for giving me that space to answer that. That's the first time I've ever said that. Means to say that I'm bringing forth a new consciousness, a new human being, a new way of being, a new consciousness void of the violence that lives in the old consciousness.
And what makes you capable of bringing forth a new consciousness?
The death of the old consciousness. The fact that it died in me 28 years ago. November the 19th, 1979.
And what happened that caused you the old consciousness to die and a new consciousness to be born?
I failed at every domain of activity available in that particular consciousness, every one of them.
Such as?
Failed as a father, as a son, as a husband, as a cousin, as a worker, as a boss, as a corporation, as a business person, as a flower seller in Kmart. All of it.
Just the failure of that caused you to bring forth a new consciousness, or is there something else involved?
The speaking of the truth of it, which allowed me to see my complete failure.
So you spoke the truth of your being a failure to whom?
To myself, and to each of those other folks in my life that I have just mentioned, to the only wife I've had, to the only parents I've ever had, to my brothers and sisters, to everyone who I've ever come into contact with, I've failed.
What exactly happened? Could you tell us what it was exactly that brought back, not the failure, but the experience that you had that brought forth a new consciousness?
Well, it's in the www.selftransformation.org website. And in there, there's a description of what happened. It can be described in, I have described it, by the way, in hundreds of different ways for different people, because always it needs to be new for me if I'm going to describe what happened. So what happened actually was the entirety of this universe dropped dead in one split second, and the energy of that happening created the energy for a new universe to be born.
Are other folks capable of having this experience and bringing forth a new consciousness?
Yes.
Is this a new road, a new path in evolution that you see mankind is taking?
If you mean by new, never having been before, which obviously is what new is, isn't it? New. Never having been before, then yes. And you can tell by the ridiculousness of what I'm saying. Can you see the ridiculousness of what I'm saying? I'm saying that I dropped dead, and that from that death, I created a new life. And I'm saying that it was this entity that did it. It wasn't a God, it wasn't a Jesus, it wasn't some extraneous energy. It was the energy of my own life coming to an end and meeting the failure of my life, which indeed created a new life.
Well, a lot of people go through religious experiences where they say they've been born again and born in Christ or whatever. How is yours differ from that experience?
Well, that I say that experience is the mirror image of the actual experience of transformation. The facility or the action called religion is the mirror image of reality. Religion lives in the belief of itself. Therefore, any religion or all religious people will never ever be able to experience a transformation unless they speak the truth of their religion, which is that it's a complete lie. Because the religion is itself the buffer or the thing that stops the experience of transformation. The born-again Christian action means to be born again. In other words, the same thing all over. The same thing has been happening for thousands of years on this planet, is that it has been borning itself again, not new. I say I am born new.
You're saying that the old experience of being born again, being religious, finding a new religion is old and cannot possibly bring forth something other than what we've always been accustomed to.
Exactly. But of course, every truth statement or every truth spoken has a lie in it in order for it to die. So the lie in what I said is, I said that no religious person could ever experience this thing called transformation about which I'm speaking, and that, after having spoke it, became a lie. Because actually a religious person can experience this. It's just that they would have to drop their religion in order to experience it. They would have to speak that their religion is a complete lie, that their life is a lie. The life is a lie for this entire planet. There's 6.825 billion folks on this planet for whom their lives are a lie. All of it is an illusion.
Right, an illusion. The Eastern religions have spoken about life being illusion and
but
illusion.
The Eastern religions are idiots. This is the culmination of all of the idiocy of our planet. All of the stupidity is time for it to come to an end, so that love and creation and intelligence, so that those things can born themselves on this planet. There has been no love on this planet ever, nor any intelligence. It's time for the manifestation of that.
And if this transformation, this self-transformation doesn't occur on this planet, what do you see as a possibility for this planet?
I see that it's a rat race right now, coming down to we'll wipe ourselves off of this planet, or we will born ourselves new on this planet. We will bring forth that which does not kill, that which does not maim, that which does not murder. Violence will disappear from this planet, or violence will destroy us on this planet.
Is this a mutation in the brain that you are speaking of?
You could call it that. I call it the first ever evolution of the human brain in the history of the human brain. The first ever evolution, meaning to say that up until now, we were as violent in this instant as we were in the first instant. Now the violence has died. There's a new human born, a new consciousness born.
And is that new human you per se, or is it something that just had to be in the theory of evolution? Well, we all know about evolution.
It was almost a perfect question until you carried it so far past that.
We'll see what you can discern from my
That which
question.
happened with me had to have happened with one person first. Because the possibility of what I'm speaking of happening is, I'm not a numerologist, so I don't know of the huge numbers against what I'm saying ever happening. That one individual would be born bringing forth a consciousness that had no violence included in it.
Is there any reason we should believe what you say?
None whatsoever. Matter of fact, it's crazy. What I'm saying is crazier than the folks are saying that they got picked up by the aliens and they took them up there and probed away at them. I mean, that sounds more reasonable than what I'm saying, doesn't it? That the aliens came down and picked up a couple guys and experimented with them and brought them back. I'm saying that I died and that I literally born myself new. with no God, no help, no anything.
And that is a possibility for all of us.
For humankind, yes.
And to
The
take
only possibility that we have, I say.
Okay. Thank you, Edward.
You're welcome, Marilyn.